Sometimes in life, we start out on a path that seems like it's exactly what we're meant to do. Years may pass, and then one day, everything changes. My guest today, Zach Loescher, had a childhood dream to become a first responder, and he became an EMT. But after 20 years, he made a dramatic career shift to pursue a more entrepreneurial path. Unfortunately, he brought with him an addiction to alcohol that he developed in his time as an EMT. It wasn't obvious at first because the drinking was how he and his peers dealt with the trauma of the job. And his entrepreneurial efforts made it easy to justify his habits because he controlled his time. Eventually, the people closest to him confronted him, and thank God he was able to see there was a problem. Today, he's on a sober journey, building a business focused on creating a network and networking with people and solving their pain and their problems through AI, AGI, and automation that uses software for lead generation to create residual income. Sit back and listen to the story of Zach Loescher and his new journey. Hello, and welcome to Hero Up, the podcast that inspires and challenges you to step up and become heroic in all areas of your life. I'm your host, Tony Stark Polici, and it's my goal to give you practical, actionable advice and insights into copywriting, mindset, lifestyle, and impact. On this show, we'll explore how to create compelling and persuasive marketing messages, and I'll give you clever tips to make you stand out as a hero. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a freelancer, a coach, or a creative, this podcast is for you. So, let's dive in. Okay, you guys just heard the introduction of my guest here, Zach Loescher, today. Zach, thank you so much for joining me, man. I really appreciate you being here.
Hey, awesome, Tony. I truly appreciate it myself. So I appreciate the time with you.
Yeah, I look forward to this. So we met a couple years ago through a mutual friend in business, and I've seen you do some pretty amazing things. I know that you've gone through some really great transformations in your own life, struggled with some difficult things. So we'll be able to get into that today. But I want to start off by just asking you a very simple question, which is, who are you and what do you do?
Great question. I'm Zach. Lived everywhere almost, but no, I just got into online marketing and entrepreneurship in 1999 and dabbled in it for quite a while. And then in 2012, 2014, got serious. And after a 20-year career as a first responder, in 2017, I've been full-time online networking digital marketer, and love the freedom to lived in Denver, moved to Detroit. Yeah, you set your own schedule, you set your own if you want how much you want to make, whatever. It's all up to you. It's not you're not tied to a boss or a 9 to 5 or a location. So it gives flexibility and freedom, unlike I had to show up and put my boots on the truck and get on the truck every day.
Yeah, big difference. Did you say 1989 is when you started online?
1999.
1999. I was going to say, was there even that's before me even?
That was from flip books.
Right. So 20 years as a first responder. Were you a fireman? What were you?
EMT. So
EMT?
Yeah, EMT all over. Yeah, I worked for a lot of Denver is privatized. It's not tied to the fire department, so ambulances are private companies. So, yeah, I worked pretty much all over North Denver, South Denver, East Denver, some West Denver. So
let's talk a little bit about that. I've got some friends who are EMTs, and that seems like it can be a very rewarding and also an extremely stressful occupation. How did you get into that, and what was it like for you?
Yeah, no, kind of grew up in it. Growing up in Nebraska with my family, my mom's sister and her best friend my mom's sister was the first female firefighter in town. And then my mom's sister, Sue, her friend was the second. So grew up into it, as if we were hanging out and they got a call, I'd ride along. And, so I always got to see the behind the scenes and what was going on, and did the junior fire academy, I think, in fifth grade, sixth grade, something like that. And, went and played college soccer and, grew up in, my dad and my grandpa had a multi-million-dollar business in, tires, electronics, home appliances, things like that. But, his 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or whatever time you had to work all the time wasn't really what I wanted. But I went to college and played soccer, and truly the only reason I went to college was for soccer. And once my 5 years were up, because I redshirted a year, I went to a community college, got my EMT, and well, actually, in college, I took a first responder course because it fit my degree at the time. So,
Yeah.
but kind of started that, and that actually got me into mountain rescue, and then, the year after, actually even the spring after soccer was over, went and got my EMT, which was a 6-month course or a semester course, and the rest was history. Did that for 20 years, from just local EMS in Colorado to FEMA responses, Department of Homeland Security responses to natural disasters, or the DNC we did one year, things like that. So just kind of grew into it. And like you said, it's very rewarding, but then, it does have its downside back then that, we kicked under the rug, so nobody wanted to talk about the PTSD or the mental trauma that came with it. And if you did, then you were put on basically a desk position, and, nobody wants to sit at a desk. So,
Yeah. Are you comfortable talking about some of the experiences you had as an EMT?
Yeah. I mean, I think,
what was one of the best days that you had? Something that happened that stands out as like a great memory for you?
I mean, there's a lot talking to the kids, things like that. It's little boys and girls, they want to grow up, be firefighters or whatever, police, or things like that. So that's always fun. But I think the biggest one, and I guess is kind of weird, but it was a wife passed away, and she wanted to pass away in the house, and the husband had left to get medication, and she was pronounced in the house, and we walked out, and who knows how the family got there, but they literally lined up and we're shaking our head, telling us thank you for it. So that's one that, taking a bad situation in the family, turned it into some more positive. So
you actually showed up there while she was still living, and she passed while you guys were there?
Yeah, well, she'd already gone, but her wishes was to pass away in the house, and she had a DNR and everything, so we were able to allow that, and that's what the husband wanted. And so it was a different turn, because I think I can count about how many times on less than one hand that we got thanked for something.
Yeah. What's a typical call like as an EMT?
Controlled chaos.
Controlled chaos.
I don't know. I mean, probably high 90% of all calls aren't even an true emergency call. It's more that, they should be, they were scared something happened or whatnot, or most of them, were not, emergent calls or anything like that. And most are, you're just driving slowly back to the hospital like a normal vehicle, and, nothing big's going to happen. And, it's that 1% or 2% that are, a true emergency. So a lot of it is, everybody thinks it's all fun and exciting and whatever, but, 95, 96, 97% of everything is, kind of more or less boring, and just basic vitals, and take them to the hospital to get checked out. And probably within an hour or two, they're going back home. So most of it's a lot more boring than people think, which is good.
Right. Was there an incident that happened when you were doing that where you remember first thinking like, I don't want to do this anymore?
Not to the end where it became more political with management, and, the dry humor that all the old timers had wasn't allowed, or was shunned upon if you made the wrong joke or the wrong statement or whatnot. So that's what really started to get me out. And then, I dispatched for like the last 4 years or so, 3 years, just getting off the streets completely. And finally, the week actually right before Thanksgiving 2017 was my last shift dispatching. So, and it just got to, a lot of more or less political with management, and walking thin ice. So don't say this or that, or, don't crack a joke kind of thing. So, but there was a lot of that, I think, that moved around the whole world at that time.
So did you just quit? Did you just leave? Or were you already working online in like 1999? Did you already have something else going on? Because you like saw the writing on the wall. I can't do this anymore much longer.
No, the writing was on the wall, and I'd been, looking to get out and continue the online path I was on, with the online career I was on. And then, I once I got out there, and I was going to quit in January of that year, January of this coming year. So 2018, and administration and I didn't see eye to eye. And so I left early. So But yeah, and then I went into, using my online skills, went into solar for a little while because solar was intriguing at the time for me. And, I was dispatching it. I was already looking into it. And so I did that for a while right after that. But then pretty much, I went full time networking.
So you also talked about in college playing soccer. Didn't you have some kind of a stint like in Europe or something when you were in college
Yeah.
playing soccer?
Yeah. Yep. I was fortunate enough to have amazing parents. I grew up playing soccer. They took me everywhere, did, camps with some professionals from Olympians, you name it. But yeah, and then first summer we were on a U.S. team, a selected U.S. team out of the United States, and went over for the summer and played in different tournaments and everything all across Europe. It was like Germany, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and the Netherlands. Probably forgot somewhere else. But yeah, and then 2 summers later after that, or 2 or 3 summers after that, we went over with our college team. And the college team went over and we played. We were there almost 3 weeks. So yeah, it's pretty fortunate. And then was able to come back here to the States and play semi-pro in a league that was in Omaha with Omaha Flames. I was in Omaha, and then out in Colorado Springs.
Did you learn any lessons from playing soccer that you brought into business?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of teamwork. It's a lot of camaraderie. It's a lot of, leadership. I was goalie, so, most of me was, being a leader on the back end of the set field and whatnot. And, so there's a lot of things you can take from sports and, turn them into business, especially like the leadership and the, practice. 'Cause a lot of what we do in business is still practicing and learning new skills and updating skills and whatnot, especially with technology now, versus in 1999 when we were doing flip books. I think anybody can flip a page. Now it's setting up software and landing pages and email campaigns and bots and AI and AGI and a lot more to it now. But a lot of it. And, one of the big things I got from Amway in 1999 was their book of the month club. Because once college was done, I was done reading. But I got that spark back into reading motivational books. And so did that. So you can take a lot from sports and leadership and the camaraderie. And, we had the same thing when I was in EMS is, the camaraderie with, your brothers and sisters on the trucks, because our goal, our objective every day is to go back home when our shift's over. So,
Right.
Knock on wood, I did.
Yeah. You mentioned the Book of the Month Club. Is that when you first discovered like motivational books, inspirational books, personal development books, things like that?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I took away from Amway. I'm not a suit and tie guy or anything like that. But yeah, there are cassette tapes or motivational tapes. There was cassette back when I started.
Sure, yeah, me too.
But the books were definitely, because I didn't really read them when I got them. I was in the Book of Month Club, but I didn't really read them. But, kind of when soccer was wrapping up, and then I really was like, I need to read these books, and, got into them, like Who Moved My Cheese and all those, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all the normal ones that everybody's read. And,
right.
I slacked off some, but now I picked that up again a lot. So it's been good.
You got into network marketing. So first you started doing solar. What was your first network marketing opportunity? Was it Amway?
Amway in 99. And that went to about 2005, 4 or 5, something like that. Maybe 6. I don't remember exactly. And then I just got out. I got burnt out. So then instead of doing that, I decided I'd pick up more shifts on the ambulance, which was probably the dumbest move because that's like 72 hours a week or more working.
Wow.
But then in 2012 came back in and was in Visalis up until I think 2017, 2018. So, and then bounced through a few companies, and I've been with Bo and My Jeans Sleeves for 4 years now.
Yeah. So, network marketing, what attracted you to network marketing?
Me not being a very good corporate guy or rules guy.
Yeah.
The whole thing of, your income's based on what you do, and, and it goes back to the leadership you can provide or the value you can provide to your team and your downline, and if you can do something that's simple and duplicate it down, then you're going to be good. If you're kind of stuck in one way, and that was kind of what was the downside of me and Amway is they had a very structured program, and it was dress codes and all that stuff, and that wasn't really me.
Yeah.
But with Visalis obviously being a health and wellness company, it was obviously there wasn't a dress code, there wasn't anything on events and things like that. But it also was a good product. That got to know Audrey and Dr. Steve and those that made the products. And being a product of the product, I lost, what did I lose? 60, 70 pounds or something like that with the products. So, then they decided to take a different avenue, change the product and things like that. And it just didn't fit with my ideas and my vision. And that's when I left there. But, as long as you're coachable and you like to learn, and, anybody can really do networking, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours after you get off your 9 to 5 or before or something, so it's an easy one. And I like it because whether I'm in Florida, Detroit, Colorado, Nebraska, Texas, wherever you can do it wherever, as long as I have my laptop.
Yeah. So that freedom of being able to go where you want, work when you want, be who you really are, that's really appealing, obviously, to a lot of folks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. It's, and I think, that, being a single parent at the time too, when I started Amway, I wasn't, but it turned out that way. And being able to have that extra income for him to play hockey, which you needed a second job or a third job for the expense of hockey.
Yeah.
But,
Sure.
He was good and he liked it. So, just like my parents let me play soccer all over the globe, he got to play hockey all over. So,
How old is your son?
25 now.
25.
So, yep.
Is he also involved in like networking or online marketing? Has he chosen a different path?
No, not really. He started talking about what he can do and stuff like that. He's up in Montana right now on a bear dog ranch, raising bear dogs.
Wow.
I had no clue what they were until I looked it up. But now he's kind of looking at, opportunities, things like that he can do outside of that part, because it's he basically walks the bear dogs and trains them a little bit for a place to stay on the ranch and things like that. So he's got free time to do other stuff now.
Yeah. So your network marketing gave you the freedom to raise your son and spend time with him and do things that like a normal 9 to 5 wouldn't, I assume.
Yeah. Yep. No, I was able to go to the hockey tournaments or practices or whatnot. There was some time I was in the ambulance, but a lot of it I could make. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really am grateful for in my career. When I left my brother's company and started my own marketing consulting firm, I did it because it was kind of, I was forced to at the time. However, what it turned out to be was a great thing because it allowed me, like I never missed any of my kids' events. Of course, people think that being a entrepreneur or a solopreneur, small business owner, affords you like all the freedom in the world. Well, it affords us a lot of freedom, but also, my experience has been that I don't know, I've spent a lot of years as a business owner. My business has pretty much owned me in a certain way. Now, yes, can I make my own schedule? Can I take time off? Can I, stop working and go take my kid to a basketball practice or a football practice or whatever it was, karate, whatever they were doing? Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, I may need to work, from 8 o'clock until midnight to make up for that time that I took off. But having the convenience of being able to, do the things that are most important and work around those things is a real blessing. It's a real gift. So as I move forward in my career, the thing that I've become more focused on figuring out is how do I really own my time and make the most of it? So I think that, what you're doing with your online business and your network marketing, the great thing about network marketing is it allows you to leverage your time and your efforts because you're supporting other people who, by helping them succeed, it helps you succeed, right?
Yeah, no, that's 100%. And And you know that right there. It's like, while we have the flexibility, it's also the behind the scenes that people don't get. Like, last week I was up till it was almost 2 a.m. or just after 2 a.m. on a Zoom, you know, helping people. But, there was part of the day that I didn't do anything. So, I probably work more hours now. If you count them all up, I don't keep track of them because it's not really work anymore. But, it's more fun. I mean, if I can help, yourself or somebody make an extra 100 or 500 or 1,000 or whatever that number is, that's more rewarding now. And it goes back to the EMS side. I'm still really helping people just in a different way now.
Yeah. So let me take you back a little bit to your childhood. Did you have, you said that your father had a multi-million-dollar business, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And did you have like visions as a kid of being an entrepreneur or going into business for yourself?
I guess probably. I don't know. I, had that little kid firefighter thing mentality.
Yeah.
But at the same time, being raised, from birth, through, even up through high school and college, even when they sold it like in around 2010 or something. I was always there because I was raised in it. At that time, I don't think I saw the hours he put in. So I didn't really, I was like, oh, that's a lot of hours, but didn't realize, he didn't miss or, almost didn't miss any sporting event we were at because, it's like we were talking flexibility, so he might go in at 7, but, he's off at 4 for whatever sporting event me or my brother or 2 sisters had, so, but yeah, growing up in it, there was definitely that, I want to do this, but then also the fire bug was there a lot too. But, when you start on an ambulance, you make $7.25 an hour. So that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. When you say firebug, what does that mean?
Oh, just the whole little kid thing. You want to be the firefighter or police officer
Firefighter.
or,
Yeah.
yep. So, yeah.
Got it. So, you also have had, some of the same struggles that I've had with, addiction and everything. You want to talk a
Yeah.
little bit about, how did that start? What precipitated that in your life?
Oh, it was, it was all the bad calls or all the crappy shifts we had that, we'd get off shift and, that, 6, 7, whatever time in the morning. And we knew the 3 or 4, there used to be four local bars in Metro Denver that opened at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. And we'd go just drown our sorrows basically or get rid of the feelings by drinking, which obviously isn't the smartest choice. But, that's how we did it. That's how we coped with it because, there wasn't, Mayflower or whatever all these other companies out there are now. That, and if you talked about it to management, then you were taken off the truck and you were just put in the office for a while. And, anybody that's been on the trucks, that's your worst nightmare is to get an office position. So we just go drink and dealt with it and not thought of, didn't really think about it. But, now looking back, it's easy to go, crap, that was a lot and that was stupid. But it took, I don't know, 20 some years. What am I, 48? So 30 years of drinking to figure out that there was an issue.
Yeah, so you talk about bad days, crappy days. Are you talking about like you guys were on calls where there were trauma and like death and horrible things like that happening? Is that what we were talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I can pretty much tell you almost if I had a Denver map, where the first kid, that we lost was at, or the first heart attack, or the first GSW, or just, certain trauma calls, that you never forget. And, it's, 20 years later, roughly, on some of those calls. But, I can, tell you exactly, the front, I can see the front door, I can see the stairs we went down, I can see the kid, or, can remember the White House with the Denver fire lieutenant running out with the baby in his arms, or, things like that. So, yeah, there was a lot of that and pent up.
Sounds very traumatic. You mentioned a couple companies, which I don't know anything about, and you don't have to go into them, but my assumption is that the companies you mentioned now, there are services that help first responders to deal with like trauma and the things that they encounter in their day-to-day jobs. Is that accurate?
Yeah, they're I don't know if I want to call it, mental health
Mental
support
health.
companies. Yeah.
Okay. But back then, when you were doing this, back in the day, they didn't have those kinds of services.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like society has gotten much better about actually not pushing that kind of stuff under the rug. I don't know if it was always pushed under the rug. I mean, I'm older than you. My dad's generation was like rugged individualists. They didn't talk about feelings. They didn't deal with feelings. And I know for me, I learned to stuff all my emotions. So when I experienced trauma and abuse, I just stuffed all that stuff down. And for me, it manifested in addiction. Typically
Yep.
addiction is a response to some type of a trauma. It's a
Yep.
coping skill. So there were no services like that for you guys. You talked about anything.
Yeah, we did the exact same. You just put your walls up and, stuffed it in and try not to remember it. But obviously, you remember everything almost into, the exact address or whatnot. But, it took me really until I hadn't talked really about it until, last year really to anybody. So, there was 7 years out, 20 plus years or whatever to like the first few calls or whatnot.
Yeah. So what got you to the point where you realize, hey, I've got a problem. I need to do something about this?
I met Jennifer in like 2011, 2012 in Visalis. And then we started talking last year, and I just had been coming out to Detroit, flying back and forth from Denver. And, finally moved out here to Detroit. And then, in October, she kind of sent me back to my parents to figure things out and get, help, whether it be, therapy or whatnot. And, I was there for 7 days, 10 days. I forget exactly now, came back, but and then it was in November. Well, I went, came back, got back to Detroit and spent, October and November in an Airbnb trying to mend things with her. And was it on November 24th, made a post about wanting to just commit suicide, and I was done with life after again drinking. And she had an officer show up that Saturday morning then to the house I was staying at, and thank God for her and thank God for him. He had a good talk with me and gave me his business card and what's called Common Ground. And it took me a day and a half basically to figure that out because I had a Colorado area code, so it kept kicking me to Colorado, which then they tried to give me a phone number for local in Michigan. But then Sunday, that finally got somebody and decided I was going to go. And they said pack a bag, and I packed the bag with like a pair of shorts and a couple of t-shirts and a boxers or something like that. And I thought I was going to go and just have like a little interview, and then Monday I'd show back up and we'd plan the week or whatever. And he basically said, "Well, you're here, you're staying here. Otherwise, you leave. You can come back Monday." And I'd already taken an Uber there because Jen, which was good on her part, made it my decision to go to rehab, instead of her picking me up. And then, I probably would have tried to talk her out of it or something.
For sure.
But, I ordered the Uber. I got in the Uber. I, got out the Uber at Common Ground. And I told him, when he said, either you can leave now and come back Monday, I said, if I leave, I'm not coming back. I already know that. So, let's do whatever we're doing. And, it's been 259 days now since then. And, but yeah, if it wasn't for, Jen, I probably we wouldn't be having this interview probably.
Well, congratulations, man. Good work. One of my favorite little sayings, I don't know if you've ever heard this poem. It's everyone comes into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Have you heard that?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the things I've learned a long time ago, and I've shared it with my kids all the time. I think about, one of the things behind my trauma is the loss of relationships. My mom died when I was 8. Completely didn't expect it. It came out of nowhere. And I've had a hard time, growing, or as I've aged, letting go of relationships. Gotten a lot better at it. But when I ran across that saying, everyone comes into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, it has really made a big, it makes sense to me. And I see it, like looking back, I see it. People that I thought were coming into my life for a long time, but they were just there for a reason, right? Like for me, the girl that I was dating that is really responsible for me getting clean and sober I was sure I was going to marry her, you know, like, in fact, before I even knew her, I walked into a house and I saw her sitting there on the floor playing cards. And I walked out with my friend and said, I'm marrying that girl. He's like, you didn't know who she is. I'm like, I don't care. I'm marrying her. And obviously that didn't happen. But it was, and she didn't even want to get clean. That was the whole thing. You know, I put her in rehab because she was doing too much of my dope. And as a result of me going to like the family nights every week, I started to realize, man, maybe I got a problem. So anyway, I don't want to go into a long story about that, but it's interesting as we make this journey, we look back and we see the people that were influential in our lives in both positive and negative ways. Hey, thank God that she and that officer were there and everything turned out the way that it did. So your journey in recovery, I mean, the first year is amazing and challenging and wonderful and painful and all of that stuff. How are you, like, what are some of the things that you're discovering that maybe you stuffed down or weren't aware of? And how's that impacting you now?
Yeah, it's opened my eyes a lot. Like, I was amazing at lying and hiding it all. You know, a lot of the habits now you look back and go, well, yeah, crap, you know, I did a lot of lying or a lot of, you know, cheating or stealing or whatever, which, you know, cheating and stealing went a lot, but the lying definitely wasn't really, you know, well, I didn't drink that beer or, you know, oh, you know, or finding money, you know, I can go get enough change to get another beer. But, you know, the habits that I had while I was in active addiction, trying to get rid of them and remember like day by day that don't do that. That's stupid. The struggle now, you know, I always say the drinking part for me, like it sucked like the first week or two, but I was in rehab for 3 weeks. And once I got out of rehab, it like knock on wood, like I didn't have that want for it or that need for it. Like a lot of people do. You know, and it's been a couple of times, like, you know, my relationship with Jen and stuff that, you know, I was like, I should just go drink, forget it. Like, it's not worth it. But then I look back and it's like, well, why am I going to throw away, you know, whatever day number I was on, you know, like 259 today, you know, why throw it away? You know, we can work things out or we can fix things or, you know, it'll get better. So, but yeah, the biggest ones, yeah, just, you know, the whole lying and making a lot of promises and then, you know, not holding up to the promise. And, you know, like they say in rehab, your first year is the hardest to change everything. What, another 3 months or something like that'll be a year. But yeah, no, a lot of it, I mean, looking back, it's easy to look back an armchair quarterback now and going, well, yeah, I did this and this. No, that was stupid. And no, this was a lot of drinking. And some of it was PTSD, a lot of it was PTSD and that, but a lot of it also was, especially during COVID, the flexibility that working online gave me that, you know, as long as I had my phone, you know, I could text, you know, message, do whatever, and still work my business while I'm sitting in the bar, you know, belly up to a bar, which, you know, obviously is kind of stupid, or is very stupid, really, you know, and so, you know, and then all of a sudden with COVID, you got alcohol delivery, you know, so that just helped everything.
Took it to a whole new level. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Traveling back and forth, like looking back, like, you know, I got on the plane and, you know, well, I got to the airport and got beers. I got on the plane, got beers, you know, got off the plane, you know, so it was, you know, just a windfall of everything that, you know, I didn't really realize how bad it was until now sitting here looking back and going, well, shit, no wonder my son didn't talk to me from April last year up until I went into rehab. And, you know, now we have a good relationship again that we talk, you know, 2-3 times a week at least. You know, but, you know, looking back on a lot of these things, it was like, oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah, alcohol was involved there. Alcohol was involved there, you know. So, you know, now it's kind of like, you know, I don't have to worry getting in a car, like driving because I'm not drinking, you know, like, you know, I got DUI in '08 and, you know, should have had one in 2015, but I got a little professional courtesy from the officers. But, you know, it's a learning experience. And I didn't learn until going to rehab really in last year. But, yeah, it's, you know, I think it's easy to look back at and go, yeah, crap, that's a lot of stupid stuff we did. But, you know, just, yeah, thankful for Jen and the officer and, you know, and well, and, you know, they're a big part of it, but then it's also, I had to want it. And, you know,
Yeah,
I had to want it
absolutely.
enough to do it. So she's been that guiding light, I guess, for me to continue it and try to get better and learn to get better. And, you know, I still got a lot of growing to do and learning and things for my psychological mental side and that, you know, the drinking kind of I don't even really care about it. Drink a lot of sweet tea and it used to be a lot of Fago. I'm going to order some Fago while I'm down here in Texas for a little while.
So, the interesting thing about addiction is that it's a condition where we're constantly convincing ourselves that there's nothing wrong with us, right? So for people that are listening to this, because I'm quite sure that somebody's going to listen to this and they have a substance issue or some kind of an addiction and they're fully in denial about it, like telling themselves, I'm okay, I don't have a problem. Like, can you remember some of the things that you said to yourself to justify like what you were doing? How did you bullshit yourself into continuing to think that you didn't have a problem?
It was just, another one or two will be okay. We can do it again today. Or I'll have a couple and it won't be a big deal. And, one was not enough and two was too many for me, because once I had two, then it was 6, 8, 10, 12. But, it was just, mine was I'll get up and work out in the morning. I'll be fine. I'll burn it off, or it's not a big a deal. I can sleep in because I'm working online. There's probably a million things I could think of, and unfortunately, and like you said, some people are going to see this and, it might open their eyes or, that they do have a problem. And I know a handful of friends or partners on the trucks that, some aren't even here now, due to it or other things, but they are where I was or even worse than I was. But, it's still, until you want it, you're not going to do anything. It doesn't matter. And I don't think it really got that bad except for the last 5 to 8 years, maybe something like that. And especially during COVID, because what else did we have to do? Especially when you're an alcoholic. You just keep drinking. And it wasn't that, I didn't have to wake up in the morning and have a drink. It was, I'd start in the afternoon or at noon and I'd do a shift with the bartender or, a shift at home by myself. Just to, I had a bad day or a bad night or whatever. And I just still drink to forget it.
Yeah. So, during COVID was a tremendous surge in depression and the incidence of depression and addiction and everything else. Isolation is terrible. One of the great things about being in a recovery community, as I'm sure you've realized now, is you talked about having some camaraderie with your, back when you were an EMT, but there's a whole different kind of camaraderie that is in the recovery rooms. And the wonderful thing about it is, are you going to 12-step?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So, like no matter where you go in the country, in the world, we can walk into one of those rooms and we have welcoming people, right?
Yep.
It's a bit of a paradox because, sometimes it's so difficult to connect with other human beings when we're in pain and we're struggling. But then once we say, I'm screwed up, I got this problem, and then we can go walk into just about any, for example, AA meeting or NA meeting or CA meeting or any of the 140 different A meetings that you go to, depending on what it is you're struggling with. And you got a group of people that care what you want to say, will give you hugs, and support you, and really, when I think about it, my brother, who has an organization called Genius Recovery, his take is that addiction is all about an absence of connection. It's a lack of connection. And it makes sense because, this principle of one alcoholic, one addict helping another, that connection that we feel in recovery is so crucial to us continuing the journey of wellness, the journey of healing, right? And it's almost like, I know you've just moved from one state to another. You're in where you're at now. I don't know how long you'll be there, but you have a community that you can plug into no matter where you go. And that's something. It's almost like people who don't have addiction don't have those kinds of things. In a way,
you're spot on too. And people, well, there's still that stigma around addiction and everything, but it's like, when I was on the ambulance, we went out drinking, our group there understood what we were dealing with, the trauma of the job. And yeah, when you go to AA or NA or anything like that, those groups know why you're there and what you're dealing with. And it's like an extended family. And like you said, yeah, you walk in, you get handshakes and hugs. And, I'm super excited to go back to Detroit and back to the Hive where I did a lot of my AA, and walk back in there again and, be, I don't know, 200 and some, 200 whatever days or 300 days, sober. And, cause it is just a big family. And, like you said, I mean, one of the guys told the story. He went on a cruise and he was like, oh crap, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do on a cruise. And he said the first day he was on there, he heard over the PA, friends of Jim will meet at 4:00. So even cruise ships have AAs,
Interesting.
so yeah. So, and, with technology, you can do it online now. I do the Zoo Crew every day. Or your phone app will tell you exactly, there's one 4 miles from here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a extended group of friends or family that understand what you're doing.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So how has this journey in recovery, how's that impacted you and your business? Because you've been in network marketing for a number of years. You're reaching out, you're building relationships. All the while you're hiding the fact that you had this, alcoholism going on under the surface. Maybe you weren't hiding it. Maybe you just didn't think it was a problem. But the way that you relate to people, right? So normal people, we'll call them normal people. I think I'm a normal person now, but someone might drink to relax themselves. Maybe they'll have a drink before they have a conversation because they've got nerves. I know for me, when I first got into recovery and stopped using things, it was hard for me. I didn't know how to live. Like, I didn't know how to relate to people, It was always like, I would use something to prepare me for whatever situation I was going to be in. It got to that point. And it was very awkward just transitioning into regular life. But I started connecting with my feelings and emotions, things I hadn't felt before, or maybe it had been a long time since I was in touch with them. My question, Zach, is how has being sober impacted the way that you work and relate with other people in your business?
That's a good question. Right the day I chose to go into rehab, I did a long, I don't know how long, I remember 10-minute video, 15-minute video, like just laid it all out and shoot everything. It was, just transparent as hell, and told everybody what was going on. So, I think that kind of cushioned the blow for 3 weeks while I was gone, maybe per se. So people knew now, and then coming out of it, it was kind of shell shock because, yeah, it's like you said, it's having those couple of drinks to relax to, do an interview, do a Zoom, do a whatever. It made things easier in my mind at that time.
Right.
Now, like I said a little while ago, like, doing that 2 a.m. Zoom, I might have made it on that 2 a.m. Zoom if I was drinking, but I probably wouldn't have made the 2 a.m. I probably would have been passed out by then. But now, like this, it's given me that, some of our techs are in India and I can get up at 5 a.m. and talk to them, or I can do that till 2 a.m. helping, I think it was 4 of us, get their software set up. But yeah, there's that, and there's that stigma that, oh yeah, there's Zach, the alcoholic guy, and I know people are, most people will change their perception maybe of me or whatnot, but there's some that, never will. There's some that, will maybe never do business with me. I don't know.
You actually have people who respond to you like, there's that alcoholic guy?
Not per se those words, but there's negative, I want to say negative, there's negativity around it, or, just, that, he's only doing it for this or that, or he won't last very long. Yeah, I had a good handful of people that, didn't think I'd make it very long being sober, so, that's I'm kind of hard headed in that. And, I can make it until whenever God wants to take me, really. So, but, there's, that, and there's people that, so Zach was lying the whole time to us when he was drinking, kind of thing. I was on a good portion of it. I don't remember because I was drinking too much. But in the same sense, right before I went to rehab in November, I had the best month I had in years. But I'm still trying to get that mindset back and have a clear mindset this time and build that back now. And, it's taken longer, and, I got more on my plate now too that, I'm still going, still wanting to get the therapy. I'm getting therapy and hypnotherapy and AA and, um, things like that. So there's more on my plate, but, and, coming down here was part of the plan to get things back on track, and it's getting there. Nothing's ever as fast as you want it, but, at least I know that it's a clean mind and clean body, and I'm not, having to do it while drinking. So I think that's the biggest thing that, now whatever I do, if I, do something great or I F something up, it's Zach and it's sober Zach, and can't blame it on alcohol. I can't blame it on anything but myself, so, if it's 100% me and nobody else to blame now. So, there was a lot of, well, I was drunk. Sorry. Back then, so.
One of the most important things for anybody that's listening and knows nothing about recovery, and even if you do, is to always remember that this journey is a one day at a time kind of thing, right? You talk about how many days you had, and I know that when I had my relapse, it was around 14 years clean and sober, and I felt like everything shifted for me, like it changed my life. I didn't realize how much I had wrapped up in my identity and what I had done. But the important thing here in the application, I think, to anybody that's listening is really this principle that is so important for people in recovery, at least in 12-step, is this concept of we live a moment at a time, a minute at a time, an hour at a time, a day at a time. And you know what? You can apply that to any situation in your life, right? If you're going through a difficult time in your business, in your relationship, anything, just recognize like this is a moment in time. All I got to do is get through maybe this next hour. This sucks right now. My partner's upset with me, but this too shall pass. I'm struggling financially. This too shall pass. I will get through this. And, I think that one of the most important things for me in my time in recovery was it taught me perspective just about life, like how to live life, and more is revealed, right? It's interesting that you talked about how judgmental people are. We are all judgmental. Just as human beings, that's, I think, human nature. And there are different levels. Like some of us have got it, are managing it pretty well, and others are completely out of control and they don't give a shit. But the thing that fascinates me about judgment, even with myself, and I've gotten so much better with this over the years, is people tend to look at others, highlight something negative about them, and somehow make themselves better because of it. And people can be very self-righteous too. Like I remember out here in Arizona where I live, there was a guy that was kind of prominent in the community, and it came out that he had an addiction issue. And boy, everybody just went online and started blasting him for this. And I remember commenting to one guy, like, what are you? And I think the term I actually used is, are you without sin? Like, are you perfect? Have you never done anything screwed up in your entire life? Because you're talking like you are, like that's who you are. And I don't even know you when I know that's not true. Oh, he lost his mind on me online, right?
Yeah.
And it's just so funny. I mean, I really think that the world we would all get along a lot better if we kind of adopted this attitude that most people are just doing the best that they can. And we all have our struggles. The best that we can do for one another is to help people be accountable to themselves, to be honest, to be real, to be authentic. And I know that the toughest thing that I ever did in my life was be honest about my flaws. It's also been the most transformational thing for me, because what I recognized was the more honest I was about what I was going through, the more honest other people would be about what they were going through. It's almost like somebody needs to go first.
Right.
And also the process, there's a saying that I'm sure you've heard is we're only as sick as our secrets. And the process of sharing, what I was struggling with, where I fell, where I failed, took the power away from that and eventually gave me victory over it. So I wasn't I wasn't caught in that rut, that repetitive destructive behavior over and over again. So I asked you, how it's impacted your business, and you shared some of these, opinions that other people have. But are you finding yourself connecting any differently with the people that you help now than you did when you were drinking, or does it seem kind of the same to you?
No, I think it's different. Just because now, why I wanted to hide everything back then, now I'm an open book, and, I suck at a lot of things and I'm good at things, and, I'm more transparent on it now. And, like, yeah, like the judgmental part, like, there's probably some people back then was like, I'm not going to work with them. Or, oh, I want to work with these people because they party kind of thing, or, that was even like, I look back into Visalis parties and things. My core group with Visalis and a couple of other companies was the partiers, the ones, oh, let's go drink for lunch. Let's go drink at dinner. So, yeah, now it's more, I'm looking more for the ones that are truly focused on business, and, go have a couple of drinks. I don't care on that part of it, but, yeah, it's more focused and more open, clear minded. There's not that clouded vision or clouded picture, of, and a lot of procrastination too back then, versus now, using like Trello and stuff where I have certain, here's what I need to get done today, or here's my idea I thought of today, or a lot more productivity going on, with it. And, the Trello part kind of came to one day at a time, and it's, a lot easier. Like, if I want to make six figures, well, that's cool, but let's take it way back to one day at a time, where maybe you only need to add one customer a day, or, five customers for a whole week or something, and for, all of us in addiction, that one day at a time is very obtainable. It's 24 hours. I can do 24 hours. Well, then tomorrow, guess what? I can do another 24 hours. Am I going to drink tomorrow? I don't know, but I'm not drinking today. So, I think it has made it more clear why, I still have a lot of stuff to clean up and perfect, and, relationship wise, mental, and there's still a lot of mental stuff that, is there, that I know I can do better, and, give more into the business, and, my team and stuff like that. It's just, kind of getting back into the right mindset, even though it's been, 8 months now. It's been a roller coaster 8 months, and, business is, and that's one thing that got me through rehab is, talking to a lot of these people in rehab. They didn't know what they were going to do when they got out. They lost their apartment because they were in for, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it was. They lost their job or whatnot. Thank goodness that I had residual income that, came in, every week, that when I got out, I did have money. So that was a blessing there. And, it still kept coming in, and it still comes in today, but is not where I want it to be at all. But, the biggest thing, is just having that clear mind and clear vision now. And now it's really buckling down and just focusing and grinding and putting in a lot of the effort, and leaving, people behind it. Like when I, left Denver, like 27 years in Denver, I literally think I talked to 4 people now from Denver.
Mm.
3, maybe even 3 people, 2 people. So you'll see, once you announce that you have an addiction problem or whatnot, and, the people that you were drinking with aren't going to talk to you, or very few, and, I think it's even got less the longer I went now, but, that's totally fine with me. Like, that's their life, but, clearing that up, and, now I can truly find the people that, want to know this Zach. And, this Zach hopefully is a way better version than the drunk Zach was, which I think he's getting there. But it's a Zach 2.0 is what I'm going to name it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that this version of you is a much better version. I've watched you online. I've seen the progress that you made, and I see what you're doing, and it's real positive. So the other thing that came to mind when you were talking was, this progress of addiction, getting sick. There's a saying that I loved. It says the process is spiritual, then mental, then physical. In other words, we get sick spiritually first, then we get mentally sick, and then we get physically sick. And if you look at the progression of any, at least a substance addiction, first there's a spiritual flaw that allows us to deceive ourselves and others. Then our thinking gets messed up. We start making bad decisions. We have maybe we're morally making wrong decisions, which ties in spiritually. And then it starts to affect our health.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, recovery is the reverse of that. The first thing that starts to get better when you stop using the dope and the alcohol is you start to feel better, right? Your body starts feeling better. And then your thinking starts to clear up. And then the third thing that happens is we start getting better spiritually. And so, it's a process, and that there's different phases in all of those and all of that healing, right? So the one day at a time is a great thing to keep in mind, but also, as easy does it, and be gentle with yourself. And, it's addicts and alcoholics tend to be extremely self-critical. I know that I still can be that way, after many years of, not struggling with addiction. So, for anybody that's out there listening, if you're in recovery and you're feeling like you're just a loser and you suck, you're not, right? You may suck at something, but if, you stick with the program, it's a process. We got to trust the process, and transformation and change, takes time. So, but it happens.
No, and you're 100% on that. Like, when I was on the truck, I was, praying every day. We got on the truck. I think it was St. Michael's up in the A pillar, the protector. I think that's the right one. Don't quote me. It's been years now. But he was up there, and, knock on wood, 20-year career, never got in a wreck, never got injured, things like that. And I had that. And then, like once I got off the truck, lost that, then it was like, oh, I can have another drink, and you lose, the mindset. And then, 100%, then, I was, I don't even know what I got. Well, I got it to like 260, 270, 280. I would never step on a scale. But then, once I made that decision, go on 11, 24, 23, the health started, I'm not drinking now. It's been a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I was in rehab. I'm like, this feels pretty good, and then your mind's clear and your choices, and we still screw up, we still have a lot, I had how many ever years of the lying that I had to be better at and not do. But then, the spirituality, now, like, July 1st, I started a short video every day of the thought of the day from the AA, and it's helped. But it's, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, and just stick to it, and it's going to work out. And, it all, knock on wood. I got my blood work back 3 weeks ago or something like that. And, I guess by the grace of God, my liver's fine, my kidneys are fine, everything was fine except my vitamin D, which was like barely low. So, and I have no clue how, but it was, and I mean, now I've been under 200 for like 2 months now, or whatever it was, since I've been going to the doctor, which, obviously I can never get under 200, because of the drinking, even though I work out a crap ton, when I'm taking in, I don't know, 1,000 calories a beer drinking night, like
Yep.
or whatever, sure. I know what the beers are, but it's the health and mindset and the spirituality things are amazing now. You just got to keep plugging away at them, and it all becomes easier and easier.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels in the 12-step program that apply to all areas of life. Some principles that make sense, like trust the process, right? And there's 12 steps. You come into a 12-step program. You don't start with step 5. You don't start with step 9. You don't get to jump around. Like, you start with 1, and you complete that, and you keep going. And each one is designed to get you to the next level. Just like in business, you had a process in the different companies that you're in. In My Genius Leads, there's a process for how people succeed. What's that saying? Success leaves clues. Well,
yep.
If we follow the steps, right, for success, whether it's in business and recovery, in our relationships, then we're going to get to the end result and succeed. There are some things you just can't shortcut, and it takes what it takes.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah, that's the 12 steps. I mean, they've been proven for how many decades now? And yeah, you start at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it might take you 3 months. It might take you 6 months to get to step 4. It's at your pace, and it's not a race. It's a journey, and whether it takes you a year to get through the 12 or whatnot. I mean, but yeah, they all literally have step by step process that's been proven by millions of people worldwide. And it's not like, oh well, you're from the U.S., we can't do it in the U.K. Um, you know, it's a proven process. It's like business. There's a proven pathway to success, and so it's your goal. You just set your goals, just like business.
And so, Zach, speaking of goals, as we're coming to the end of our time here, the theme of the show is Hero Up. And it's about, how to be a hero in your life and in your business and to the people that are around you. So stepping into recovery, some people look at it and they think, that's not heroic. I think it's different, right? I think that there's a lot of people that spend all their days on this planet and they never really face their demons. They never really step into that process of transformation. But right now, at this point in your life, as you're looking forward, and I know we're not supposed to project forward, right? We kind of stay in the moment. But I also, now, 30 years on the other side, when I got clean first time in 1988. So I've got decades here. What I know now that I didn't know then was if I could have a vision in my mind of, what I could see myself doing, I never would have expected to have achieved the things I've achieved in my life. Really, like when I got clean, my goal was not to die in a freaking alley. So, I mean, hey, praise God. But like, who do you want to be a hero to as you go forward now, in your life? And what are the goals that are now important to you going forward?
Yeah, no, I mean, the hero part. Who could be a lot, but specifically, obviously my kiddo, and if things work out with Jen, her boys, and just be able to be that example that you can screw up big in your life, but still have a great recovery or finish, even whatever you want to call it,
Right.
and just showing them, but also to those that like I said, it took me from Friday when I quit drinking at 7 p.m. Just because I know that's when I closed my bar tab out. That was my last drink until it took me till Sunday late afternoon to make up my mind that I wanted to. So to those that, are in active addiction, you can do it. It's, you just have to want it. And, I didn't want it for a long time. But, and it won't be easy. It'll probably be pretty damn hard. So even for them that, it doesn't matter. And, the other cool part we didn't really talk about AA is that, or NA or any of these, that, it's every walk of life. Like, whether you're making 6, 7, 8 figures, which there was somebody in rehab I was working with that was making 8 figures and he'd spent over 7 figures in his addiction. So it doesn't discriminate who you are at all.
Right.
So, once you're out of that addiction, with a clear mind, you can be whoever you want to be. It's really putting your plate now to be who you want to be. And, that's the cool thing is that, we can, show people there is a better path and that, you're not that stigma that, society unfortunately still has. You don't have to be that, now I really don't care if you call, hey, Zach the alcoholic. I'm absolutely damn straight I am. Cool. Yeah. And it's also been 259 days since I had a drink. Thank you. So, and that's the cool part. Like, but yeah, mostly, I mean, for the boys, for sure. Just show them, you can completely screw up your life. Like, completely screwed it up. And it's going to be a work in progress, but, I'm too hard headed to give up and quit, that, I'll get it all done, work on it. But, just, to anybody that hears this, that is an active addiction, that, you can, once you make up your mind, stay clean for as long as you want. So it could be, just to anybody.
Second chances, that I think that's something that's desperately needed nowadays, is for people to know that when we make mistakes, that's not the be all end all, right? So many times I've seen stories of people who have ended their lives, and I just think, man, if they just had a little bit of hope, if they just had a belief that this was going to pass and they could get through this, right?
Yep.
So, if you're, to anybody that's listening and maybe you feel like, man, I screwed up so bad, there's just no coming back from this, I want to encourage you not to give up, to talk to somebody, seek some help. I'll put some links at the bottom of this, interview. If you're watching on YouTube or another platform where you can see text, there'll be links to resources that can help you nationally. And, also, I think one of the greatest things that I got out of recovery was a relationship with God. I really understand that, not only am I not a piece of crap, but I'm loved, and God gives me second chances too. So if you're
Absolutely.
listening and you feel that, I just want to encourage you to know that there is second chances, not only with people, but with the Creator who loves you, and that matters so much, probably more than anything else, for people to know. You're not unforgivable. You're redeemable. So, Zach, is there anything I didn't ask you that I should have?
No, I think we covered it all. Yeah, it's it's just, you can come from wherever in life, and we all might hit rock bottom at some point. And, 11, 24, 23 was my rock bottom, and now I got to make that rebound and show everybody. And there's a lot of stuff I have to rebuild, but I know within due time, and within God's plans and my patience, that, I'm working on patience.
Yeah.
Everything will work
Me
out.
too. Still.
So and just like you said, Tony, don't give up. Don't make a long-term decision on a short-term issue. So
Right.
it's a handful of people I knew personally in EMS that made that choice. So it's a short-term issue. Don't
make a permanent decision off a temporary issue. Yeah.
Exactly.
So if people want to get a hold of you, if they want to find out about how they can generate residual income, too, where should they go?
Yeah, you can go right to residualgenius.com or email me at zach@residualgenius.com, and we can definitely talk and work out a game plan for you. So
awesome. All right. Well, I'll have those links in the bottom of this too. And Zach Loescher, thank you for your time today, brother. Thank you for being open and honest and sharing about your story. It's been a real pleasure having this conversation with you. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Tony. And I appreciate you for having me on. It's been great. And, we all got to share our story. It might help one person. So.
Amen. Absolutely. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you for tuning into Hero Up. I hope today's episode challenged you to step up as a hero in your field and provided you with valuable insights to express your unique voice and message. If you found this episode helpful and motivating, please leave a review and share it with your friends and family. And remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes and amazing guests. Until next time, find your voice, share your message, live your mission.